I call the Bristol, Tennessee Better Property Board to order for February the 25th, 2021. First order of business is roll call. My name is Pam Offield.
Randy Cook.
John Clark.
Wayne Humphrey.
Lonnie Barrett.
Records show that we do have a full attendance and we can conduct business. So I'm going to ask Carrie to read the discussion for necessity for conducting an electronic meeting.
Yes, ma'am. Governor Lee has suspended the provisions of the Open Meetings Act to the extent necessary to allow the governing bodies to conduct their essential business by electronic means rather than in person. One condition of meeting electronically is that if a member of the Better Property Board or staff is attending by audio only, they are asked to identify themselves by name and position when they speak. In order to proceed with meeting electronically, the Better Property Board should make a determination that meeting electronically is necessary to protect the health, safety, and welfare of Tennesseans in light of the COVID-19 outbreak. At this time, it would be appropriate for the members to discuss, if needed, whether they believe that meeting electronically is necessary and vote accordingly. If the members do not agree that meeting electronically is appropriate at this time, then this meeting should be adjourned until time as the members can meet in person. Please vote by roll call.
Okay. Do we have a discussion on that as to why we should or should not meet electronically? Not hearing any discussion. I call for a motion that we approve the meeting to be conducted electronically.
Randy Cook, I so move.
I'll second the motion. Lonnie Barrett.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor that we do conduct this meeting electronically. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Wayne?
Aye.
John? Randy?
Aye.
Lonnie?
Aye.
Let the record show the motion is carried, so we can conduct this meeting electronically today. Now we're going on to preliminary investigations, and we have none. We're going on to public hearings. The first order of, oh, wait, excuse me, I'm sorry.
Minutes.
I haven't done the minutes yet, have I? I'm just checking off things. Has everyone had a chance to read the minutes from the January the 28th, 2021 meeting?
Yes.
Yes.
Do I hear any corrections or additions to these minutes?
Madam Chairman, on page 4, Lonnie, the sentence says the contractor assisting the property owners, Chris Foran, addressed. I guess that should be and discussed, but there's no and there on page 4.
There was a lot of typos in this particular minutes, but I think we understood exactly what they meant.
Yeah, I agree.
That's all. That's the only correction that you would call to our attention.
Yes, ma'am. Whoever transcribed them did a good job.
Yeah, they did. Very good. Very thorough. Do I hear a motion that we approve the minutes as corrected?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from the January meeting.
I'll second, John. That's Lonnie.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion by John and a second by Wayne that we approve the minutes for the January the 28th, 2021 meeting as corrected. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Wayne?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Randy?
Aye.
Lonnie?
Aye.
Let the record show the motion is carried, so we can approve those minutes. Now, preliminary investigations. We have no preliminary investigations. So we're going on to public hearings. Our first order of business on public hearings is 701 Alabama Street. And I do believe that we do have someone in attendance on this property.
Yes, Madam Chairwoman. We have Mr. Adrian White is present, the owner of the property, and he will be promoted by Shane for this portion of the meeting.
Okay, this particular property, the downstairs is open and uninhabited, but the upstairs apartment is being inhabited. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes. The bottom units on 701 Alabama, they're unsecure and open to vagrants who have continued to go in and out.
Okay, the pictures that are included in our packets, is that the bottom unit or is that both units? Did both units get inspected or just the bottom unit?
Well, there's actually there's 3 units on the bottom and 1 on the top. All of those units were inspected.
And the pictures that are included are of all 3 units?
All 4 units, yes.
All 4 units.
Mhm.
So there's 2 units on the bottom and 2 units on the top, is that correct?
There's 3 units on the bottom and 1 on the top.
Oh, okay, all right. But the top one, this one's been inhabited.
Yes.
Okay. All right, now I've got another question. I don't quite understand the letter that Mr. White wrote to us saying that he received a notice of hearing in January that was continued to February. Now, we do understand that. And that was continued to June the 24th. Now, I don't understand that at all. Can someone please explain how that got to Mr. White or what kind of notice he got? Mr. White, can you explain that to us?
I can explain a little bit on that. I'm not sure if it's in the meeting yet. So he really served for court for January 14th. However, that date was postponed due to court being closed to a later date, and then it was closed again. So then that second continuation date is what the June 24th date is. So he's referring to the June date as the court date. That's what that was.
So in other words, you have a court order for him to appear in court, and that's the one that's going to June the 24th. Doesn't have anything to do with the Better Property Board. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, that's all I needed to know. I didn't quite understand how that occurred. Okay. Mr. White, can you address the board, please? Is he there?
Mr. White, if you're there, you would need to unmute.
I could hear
Diane
you.
is,
Pardon me.
go ahead.
I had a fella, actually, was a couple in there. I could not get them out. They made a mess. They wouldn't clean it up. They finally did leave. The other 2 units on the first floor are just got storage stuff in them. They're not completed, not ready to be rented or anything. The one upstairs is a guy that works for me, and he's actually cleaned some of the property up outside for me. I've been out of town for a couple of weeks, so I don't really know what the status, but he knew to clean that up. I don't know what these pictures are here that you're showing.
This photo right here, this is one of the photos from the upstairs unit. It appears to be some sort of utility room, and it's being used as a living space for a vagrant that Mr. Harless, who is the tenant, has allowed to stay there. It's an illegal living space as there's no windows or doors that lead to the outside, which...
You're talking about the second story?
Yes, this is in the upstairs of 701 Alabama.
Well, it's supposed to be, it's Richard Harless is living there.
Right, Richard Harless lives there.
He's not a vagrant.
Well, no, he lives there with his girlfriend, and I'm assuming is his dad, but he's also allowing another unknown individual sleep in this setup right here.
Well, it's a room. I mean, what's the big deal about that?
In order for it to be set up as a legal living space, it has to have operable windows and doors for access to the outside.
Well, I'll tell them the girl has moved out, so I don't know when this was, but it's got 2 bedrooms, and his girlfriend moved out, so it's just he and his dad, is my understanding, and there's no reason for him to be in that closet. But I can correct that real fast.
Right. We were there last week. This photo is from the back unit on the bottom. Not sure what's been wired up here as far as the lighting situation goes. This is the doorway to the back unit. It's unsecure, or it was.
Police have gone in there and kicked in 2 or 3 of my doors. I don't know what for. They never called me to ask about it. They kicked them in.
That was on the front doors. This door right here has been unsecure for months now. Vagrants have been going in and out. This is a fireplace from one of the bottom units in the front. Lighting fixtures. It shows some exposed wiring hanging out. Water damage.
Rented. They're not able to be rented. They're just there. That's the way they were when I bought the property, and I haven't improved that part of the property.
How long have you owned this property?
I bought it. I'm thinking 2014.
And you hadn't had time since 2014 to do anything?
Well, I haven't wanted to really, but I've got 12 other properties been working on. Is one problem.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I'll get it cleaned up. That's my goal, but I can't get the only. I mean, I can get that secured tomorrow. And my worker lives upstairs, and I'll straighten out getting anybody out of the closet. But there's only 2 people up there, to my knowledge, right now. He and his dad. But most of this problem is caused by COVID, because nobody will pay the rent, and they won't keep their property cleaned up, including the property beside of it. And I can't get them out because I can't get a court date.
We've had issues with both of these properties before COVID started with debris and the trash outside.
Well, and I've told my tenants to get it cleaned up, and I've even had my own other people clean it up, some of it. But
so Codes did obtain an inspection warrant, and that's when we made entry on February 16th to do a damage assessment. The estimated damage is 51.9% with severe electrical, plumbing, and interior damage. All bottom units are open and unsecured with vagrants coming and going. All bottom units are also posted unfit due to lack of utilities. As stated before, the upstairs unit is occupied with active utilities. However, what appears to be some sort of utility room or closet is set up as an illegal living space. There's trash, junk, and debris scattered around the interior and exterior of the property, and the overall conditions of the property are unsanitary and deplorable. And due to the damage assessment, staff is requesting an order to demolish be issued with a 60/60.
Well, no, that's ridiculous. These are 2 nice properties, and I can fix them up very easily.
Okay, if for some reason we issue an order to demolish, Mr. White, you have 60 days in order for you, if you wanted to go in and fix these properties up and then bring them back to the board to get us to change our order from demolish to an order to repair. You do have that option.
All right, why don't you continue this hearing for 30 days and come back out there in about 2 weeks, and I'll have all this resolved. You won't have to do a demolish.
We've already continued this meeting for 2 months.
Well, not for me. I mean, I didn't even know about it.
Horse feathers.
I mean, both of these are 2 nice properties.
They were.
It's hard to get good tenants anymore. They'll take care of your property. That's why I'm going to sell them both. I've got people interested in buying them right now, but I can't even get them in there to show them.
Gentlemen, let's have a discussion.
Pardon? I couldn't understand you.
I said, gentlemen, let's have a discussion, please.
I mean, these are my properties. I've got investment in them. I want them to be fixed and and protected, but
I know, but it's too bad you haven't done this since 2014. This is 2021. That's 7 years.
Madam Chairwoman, we temporarily muted him so y'all could have a discussion. If you have any specific questions, we can unmute Mr.
So he's muted. Thank you.
Yes.
Madam Chairman, this is Lonnie.
Yeah.
Can we order demolition on a house that's got somebody in the top floor?
How can it be listed as unfit for occupancy on the bottom because of electrical? You can have people in the top.
Right.
I'm concerned about the fact is it's only 51%, and we have issued orders to repair on properties that's been 70 and 80 and 90%. And all of a sudden, I know this has been an eyesore for a long time, and it probably still will be. But here it's just barely over that 50% rule, and you're asking us to issue an order to demolish when it's only like 51.9%. That's one thing that really concerns me.
Is that right?
Pardon?
Is that actually right? Looking at that, it looks like a whole lot more than 51%.
Yeah, it does to me too, but that's why I wanted to know if those pictures was the whole property or just the downstairs units.
I guess my question, Pam, is how can you have a unit listed as unfit because of deplorable conditions and electrical on the bottom, and you got people living in the top? If the bottom catches fire, does the top not catch fire?
That's true. I agree. Can you all explain that, Cheyenne?
Sure. So with the unfit stickers, I did check with BTS, and there is separate meters for each unit. So of course, all the bottom units have their own meters, so the power's off when the top.
I understand that, Cheyenne, but if you got vagrants running in and out, we've already had properties in the city that they've set on fire in the last 3 years.
Right. It's just, we just haven't felt the need to post the top unit unfit.
How's the wiring? If the wiring on the downstairs unit is so deplorable, how's the wiring on the upstairs unit?
From photos,
Looks pretty bad to me.
right. And these were done last week, and we haven't sat down to discuss whether or not we would be posting this top unit unfit. In my opinion, it definitely could be posted unfit, and I'm open to opinions from Matt.
Is Matt with us today?
Cheyenne,
Go ahead, Lonnie.
I'm here.
I'm sorry, Cheyenne, it's Lonnie. What's the apartment that's occupied? What does it look like? You been
You
inside
just saw the pictures.
Yeah, this is the little closet.
That's
Our
okay.
main concern. But as everything else in that top unit, it's mainly just, there's a lot of tools and just clutter around. But as far as sanitation, I mean, just a lot of clutter with tools and equipment, like building materials and such.
Okay.
And the reason this one only came in at 51.9 is there's not any foundation issues or anything like that. So the program that's used to figure it, some of them things, the foundation and structural issues, and end up being a large portion of that.
Okay,
There's
if
a
we
lot of
issue.
water damage on the second floor. You bound to have some structural issues in the roof.
Mm-hmm.
The second floor had a drop-down ceiling in part of it, which is probably hiding a lot of issues. We didn't go peeking up in the ceiling.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I don't have any more to say about it, Pam. I'm good with order to demolish.
In the past, typically, if any property that we have is at 50% or over, regardless of how much, we do request an order to demolish, and we leave that decision up to the board.
I understand that, but just in the last few months, we've issued orders for repair on properties that have been more than 50%. And that is just my opinion, and I agree. 50% should be the rule, and it is the rule, but, I'm just a little concerned about that in my own mind. Okay.
Pam, this is Randy.
Yes, Randy.
This gentleman has owned these properties this property for 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
To my way of thinking, there's no reason that he shouldn't have had these things repaired before COVID. I'm of the same opinion as John. I have no problem issuing an order to demolish if he can go in and get things fixed up in the next, before 15 days before our next meeting.
Yeah.
Or within 15 days of the 60-day demolition expiration, which would make it, oh goodness, middle of
Sometime
April.
in April, yeah.
Early April. He can come back in writing and request us to rescind the order to demolish, but he's going to have to show an awful lot of progress.
Yeah, Randy, that is a very good point you put out there. Mr. Lonnie?
I agree. I'm ready to vote.
Okay.
All right, I'll make a motion that we issue an order to demolish for 701 Alabama Street due to the uninhabitable conditions on the first floor, the use of a closet as a bedroom on the second floor, the general condition of the property, the lack of a suitable wiring, and the damage estimate of 51.9%.
This is Randy. I second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor that we issue an order to demolish the property located at 701 Alabama Street due to the estimated damage. It'll be 51.9%. With severe electrical issues, plumbing issues, interior damage on the bottom units. The upper units are having unfit areas that have been used as living conditions or unfit. And the overall conditions are unsanitary and deplorable. Is there any further?
Madam Chairman,
Yes.
further discussion.
Yes.
Just for this is Wayne Humphrey.
Yes, Wayne.
Just for my mind benefit, what happens if this guy comes in and does a 10% improvement?
Well, he can come back before the board with it, with that letter asking us to rescind, and we can look at it again. If it's only 10%, we'll do some serious looking. Now, if he comes back before the board with a 75% improvement, that'll show that he was in earnest and wanting to complete it, and therefore we can amend this one motion and do an order to repair. He does have that option.
Yeah, I was just curious if we have the 50% rule and he says, well, certainly I've done 10% of what needed to be done, so it no longer qualifies.
He jumps it down to 40%.
Yeah.
I guess that's dependent on Matt and them looking at it again.
Yes, they'll have to go in and do another assessment.
I understand. I wasn't arguing a point.
Yes.
I was curious.
Yeah, well, I could see where you'd be curious, and I can see that. Okay, what other discussions have we got? Okay, we're going to go ahead and call for a vote. All in favor say aye. Wayne?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Randy?
Aye.
Lonnie?
Aye.
Let the record show that the motion is carried, and we will issue an order to demolish the property located at 701 Alabama Street. Now we're going on to the next property, which is 705 Alabama Street.
Madam Chairwoman, this is the same property owner. If you want us to unmute him, we can.
Do we need to unmute him, Tim?
It's up to you.
It's
Oh.
a public hearing, so I think he should be given the opportunity to speak at some point. So, but you obviously can control when he speaks.
Okay, well, you can go ahead and unmute him, but now if he comes back and starts fussing at us on 701, I'm going to have him muted again.
Okay. Go ahead, Cheyenne.
Okay. So very similar situation as to 701. It is the same property owner. We've had multiple cases on this property as well as 701 over the years due to junk and debris, inoperable unregistered vehicles, and most recently the dilapidation of it. This one is also unsecure on this front unit here. It's unsecure and open. We did obtain an inspection warrant and make entry. The living conditions of this bottom unit were extremely unsanitary, deplorable. There was some severe electrical issues. There were multiple extension cords ran and hooked into one another, as you can see in the photos, which is a major fire hazard. There was no smoke detectors. Again, deplorable conditions. And as far as anyone living inside of this property, it's from my understanding that the previous tenants that lived there, they're the ones that left this behind. They have since moved on, but it is still open and unsecure for everyone else to go in and out. And the lights and ceiling fans were on when we made entry, so it appeared that somebody had been in there recently.
It says the upstairs unit is occupied with active utilities, so the utilities are still going, right?
Yes.
Is it 2 units, this house, on this one?
So it is 2 units. However, there is only 1 meter, so there is power to both units.
Okay.
And
same situation.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yes.
This is not the one that had the power going. Is this the one that power is going from that over to 701 or vice versa?
It was previously. So previously, the tenants that were living in this bottom unit had extension cords running up to 701, the upstairs.
Okay.
The upstairs unit of 705, the ones that are still living there and have more sanitary conditions, they are the ones that restored the power to 705. So that's why the power was cut back on there.
Okay. Is Mr. White on?
Yes.
All right, Mr. White, you want to talk to us about 705 Alabama?
Well, the tenant on the downstairs has moved out, and I haven't had a chance to be. He still got a bunch of his stuff in there, and I've texted him. He said he still hadn't got it all out, but I'll just go get it.
How long ago did he leave?
I'm not really sure, but he's kind of been moving out for a month or two, I sent him a notice of eviction like mid-November to both people upstairs and downstairs, and then they issued a new order that you can't file any evictions now till April 1st. So I can't. And the power company called me about the upstairs people turning the power on, and I told them not to do it, and they did it anyway, because I knew she would have to move out if she couldn't get the power back on. It was in the previous guys downstairs, but he's left a vehicle or 2 in the back. But when he moved in there, this was a extremely nice place. I mean, extremely nice, because I had refinished the floors, painted it, and I'd live in it myself. And the upstairs was equally nice as well.
How long have you owned this property, Mr. White?
I bought them at the same time from an estate, and we fixed these 2 apartments up first before we touched the 701. And I had good tenants in there for a year or so, and probably 3 years, I guess. But I want to clean these places up and sell them. I don't want to leave them in this condition. I've been trying to get these people out. both of them, the one upstairs moved in about a little over a year ago. And she's not paid rent in 8 months. Nor did the one downstairs.
Okay.
And if you all will just give me a couple of weeks to do a re-inspection, I'll clean them up.
Okay. Okay, you want to go, if you will go ahead and mute Mr. White so we can discuss, please. Okay, gentlemen.
I don't know, pretty much the same discussion that we had on the first one, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
Yeah, and the damage assessment is 59%. Yes,
I don't really see a whole lot of change there.
and both of the units are off the same electrical.
Yeah,
That's dangerous as a cotton gun. I can't believe that it's like that.
oh, I can't.
Okay.
Well, if somebody wants to make a motion, fine. If they don't, I will.
Madam Chairman, this is Lonnie. I make a motion, we order make an order to demolish the 705 Alabama Street due to the damage assessment being 59%, severe electrical, plumbing, and roof damage, bottoms unsecure, and has vagrants coming and going. Interior of the bottom unit is in deplorable condition, as the pictures indicated. Junk, trash, and debris, and inoperable vehicles on the property.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor that we issue an order to demolish the property located at 705 Alabama Street due to the estimated damage assessment of 59%, severe electrical, plumbing, and roof damage. The bottom unit is unsecured and has vagrants coming and going. The deplorable conditions in the bottom unit, trash, junk, and debris, and inoperable and unregistered vehicles on the property. Is there any further discussion on this?
What unit is this, Diane?
I'm sorry.
What's the number of the unit? How's he got them numbered? I'm confused.
It's 705 Alabama Street. So the first,
I got that part.
okay.
But there's two units there.
Right. This is I guess this is considered unit 1, and the upstairs unit is 2. There wasn't any
Okay.
numbers.
Okay. As long as you know which one's which.
Right. Mhm.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Wayne,
Aye.
John, Randy,
aye.
Lonnie.
Aye.
The record show that the motion is carried and we will issue an order to demolish the property located at 705 Alabama Street. Okay, now, do we need to inform Mr. White of our discussion, or will he hear from you all about this?
We will send him the order to demolish, both orders to demolish once they are signed.
Okay,
And I'm not sure if he's able to hear us as we're discussing, to hear what the decisions were or not.
well, I had him muted, so I don't know.
Yes, ma'am. Madam Chairwoman, he could hear you.
He could hear us?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we just could not hear him.
Correct.
Okay, no, that's fine, that's good. All right, we're going on to our next one, and it is 2089 King College Road. And I understand we do have someone in attendance on that.
Yes, Madam Chairwoman, Kelly Graham is in attendance tonight to represent the property owners on this.
Okay. I do have one question on this on my mind. I noticed that we do have the assessment of damage, but I also noticed that it is designated as residential. When I see the top of structure, it says residential, and this is definitely not residential. This is a barn. Can we go by this damage assessment since it's basically for residential?
There is no designation for
You don't have one for a barn?
barn. So it's either that or you get into apartments or commercial structures.
Okay, well, that was my question. Can we go by that? Now, I did see that, certain things you had zeroed out because
Yeah,
you
we
didn't have
zeroed out.
cabinets and floors and stuff like that, but I just wanted to see about this. Okay. All right, Cheyenne, you want to talk to us and then we'll get Mr. Graham with us?
Yes. So we have received several complaints about the dilapidation of the structure as far as safety concerns go. It is open and unsecure, and due to the amount of trash, debris, and tire piles that are on the property. So we did do a damage assessment, and it is 56.1% with severe damage to the superstructure and roof covering.
How long has this barn been there?
About 100 years.
You can obviously tell that it was a very nice barn at one point.
At one point, it was definitely a very nice barn and well taken care of, but I wonder how long it has been allowed to deteriorate.
It's probably part of the big brick house's property at one time that sits right over beside it on the left side.
Yes.
Okay. All right, you want to put Mr. Graham on for us?
He's on, Madam Chairman.
Oh, all right, thank you. Mr. Graham, would you like to speak to us?
He is getting unmuted.
All right, let me give you the story behind this, if you don't mind.
Yes.
This property was purchased many years ago for the purpose of building a retirement community in there, like assisted living. It needed rezoning, and because of neighborhood objections, they did not go forward with that. We have it for sale, and as a matter of fact, we have it sold. The man that bought the property was going to fix that barn up right back. You talked about what good shape it was in at one time. He was going to fix it back up to that. Well, before we closed on it, before he was able to close on it, he started cleaning it up. And that's how you have the junk piles. He actually did that without permission. But so he started doing all of that. The situation is you have two separate owners of this property. One's in North Carolina and one is in Abington. The one in North Carolina is saying, let's get it sold, let's get this thing cleaned up, etc. The guy in Abington, we actually thought we had his go-ahead to sell it. He has objected. So now the owner in North Carolina has sued the owner in Abington, and the owner in Abington refused service 3 times. So the owner in North Carolina has hired Randy Kennedy to represent him to get this guy served in court and get it sold. So what Mr. Kennedy had to do was, because he refused service, he had to serve him by publication. In other words, he had to put it in the newspaper. So now that's been done. So they're going to get in front of the judge, and what will happen is the judge will say, this property needs to be sold. There's a valid contract on it, and they're going to honor that contract. And then the guy's going to buy it. He's going to fix the barn up, restore it. And but because of the fact that he had started piling stuff up, I hired somebody today to clean off the junk and get it off the property. So we're getting rid of the junk. And then just as soon as we can get these two people in court against each other, we know what the outcome is going to be, then we'll be able to close it, and the gentleman's going to fix the barn up and make it very nice again. So that's the story behind it.
Is the gentleman still interested in buying the barn after all this legal mumbo jumbo y'all are going through?
Yeah, I talked to him today. He says, yeah, just as soon as I want to buy it. So yes, he wants to buy it, he wants to pick it up.
And how long has this legal bit been going on? A year, 2 years, 6 months?
Well, it's been several months. And it just has taken that long for it to go through court, because the guy in Abington just said, no, I'm not going to sell it. And so he had to be forced to sell it. And so they had to get a survey, they had to get an appraisal, they had to do all of the things that they had to do to present it to the judge. And so, like I said, they've tried to serve him. He refuses. Well, part of the problem was when we started this, he was incarcerated. So after he...
What, the owner? Or the one you're trying to serve this on?
The one we're trying to serve.
Oh, wow.
It was a mess. Oh, trust me, it was a mess. And if it had not been the mess with the guy in Abington, this thing would have long since been sold, long since been cleaned up, long since been fixed up. And that's where we're trying to get. But like I said, in the interim, I have hired somebody to come in and clean it out, get all the junk gone, take it to the landfill, and do all that. Then just as soon as we can get the deed transferred, the new owner will come in. He's going to fix that back up. He very much wants to fix that barn back up the way he knows what it used to be, and he wants to do that again.
Okay, question. At one time he was going to get it and take it to an assisted living. Well, that fell through, correct?
That was years
ago. What's the new owner going to do with it? Is he going to have horses?
I think I believe he is a businessman in Bristol, and he would like to have this. I mean, it's 5 acres, and I don't think he intends on subdividing it out. He has talked in terms of building a single house on it, and he has talked in terms of getting this barn cleaned up. Now, what he will actually do with it, I can't promise you. I mean, it'll be his property. And he can do.
Well, that's true too. I'm just curious.
Yeah, I don't want to get on the record of saying this is bang, bang, bang what he's going to do. He just wants to buy it. Given the zoning, it actually could be torn down, and you could put, I believe the number is, well, you got 5 acres, and I think you can do 15 units an acre. So, I mean, you could do that with the property, but that's not his intention.
Well, what length of time are you thinking it's going to take in order to get this thing through courts and to the point where this gentleman can buy it and then decide what he's going to do with it?
Well, we're a lot closer now than we were, because we now have him served. And I do not know when Mr. Kennedy is going to be able to get in front of the judge. As you know from your previous deals, the courts have been shut down. You haven't been able to get in front of judges. Mm-hmm. But just as soon as we can get in front of the judge now, we'll go ahead and get the suit handled and basically force the sale. And as soon as we can get the sale forced, he'll start redoing the barn. But before that happens, I'm going to have the thing cleaned up. Like I said, I've got somebody coming in next week. We agreed on a price today to clean it up. So he will go ahead and start cleaning it up next week and taking the junk to the landfill.
Okay. I know we want you to be aware that the damage assessment to us has been like 56% with the severe damage to the superstructure and the roof covering. And we in turn definitely look at that percentage of anything over 50% with very severe, we really look closely at that because we don't want you throwing good money after bad money, and we want to protect your interests as well as the city's interests. So we'll look very strictly at that.
And I do understand this exactly what you said, but it is not residential. That barn is going to be a barn. And what he will do is he will fix it back up. So no, it's not going to have the cabinets. I heard that comment. And so forth. It will be a barn, and it will be a good looking barn again, I believe, from what he has told me. And but the big deal right now, and I understand this, I drive by it myself, is the junk. And so we're going to get rid of the junk. And he wants that barn. He does not want it to go away. He'll fix it up
November.
just as soon as we can.
Yeah, that barn's been there for as long as I can remember, but then
Yes, ma'am.
I've only been a resident of Bristol for 40 years, so I don't know.
As long as I remember, it's older than that.
All right, let's go ahead and mute Mr. Graham and let's have our discussion, gentlemen.
I think the guy's smoking rope. I think he's smoking rope to think that he can repair that barn. I mean, build a new one, but you got severe damage to structure there.
Get barnwood builders in there to tear it down and use that material to make a new one. I'm not being flippant or anything, but there's some good beams in there. Lonnie?
Well, I agree. I was getting ready to say, I agree with what's been said. If we look at just the assessment from the city, it has no electrical, so we can't. There's probably not any electrical wiring to worry about, but and it's piles of trash and debris, and I think the structure is unsafe because of the silo that looks like it's ready to fall. So that we would.
The barn's leaning too.
Yeah. So I think we could use that same criteria as we did before for the other one. If we go ahead and order it demolished, and he comes in and like Wayne says, he comes in 60 or 20 days or whatever, and starts superstructure or whatever he does with it, it might look better and we could go back and revisit it, I guess. So
that is correct. We could. He'd have 60 days in order to bring it to the point where we could definitely look at it again and see what the damage assessment would be and make another decision on whether to repair that barn. We could do that. Okay, Wayne?
I had no question on that.
Okay, Sean.
Well, my point, I'm sorry. My point was, and it was in the form of a question, how do we differentiate between, one location and another? As far as, the both comments saying, well, hey, we can have this thing in 30 days really looking a lot better and this, that, and the other. So what's our criteria as to how we look at, one location as compared to another?
That's a very good question, Wayne. Yes, it is.
Asking for advice from the board.
Okay. John?
I don't really have any questions or comments on it.
Okay, gentlemen.
This is Randy. I think we need to, I move that we issue an order to demolish that property at 2089 King College Road due to a damage assessment on the accessory structure barn and of estimated damage of 56.1% with severe damage to the superstructure and roof covering. And it's just basically not a safe structure at this point.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor that we issue an order to demolish the property located at 2089 King College Road due to the estimated damage assessment of 56.1%, severe damage to the superstructure and to the roof covering. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Wayne?
Aye.
John? Randy?
Aye.
Lonnie?
aye.
Let the record show the motion is carried and we will issue an order to demolish the property at 2089 King College Road. Now, I know Mr. Graham could hear all we've discussed. Is that correct, Tim?
Yes, he's still on the line, yes.
Yeah, so he can hear all we have discussed. So he does know that if he goes in and does some work on it, and he can come back to the board within that 60-day time period and ask us to look at it again to whether we rescind the order to demolish and issue an order to repair it. He does have that option.
May I make a comment and ask a question?
You may, Kelly.
Thank you very much. It's going to be very difficult to address the structure of the building within the 60 days.
I
The reason
understand
I
that.
say that is because the ownership will not change. We can clean up the debris. That is without saying that will get done. But as I'm hearing what you're saying is 56.1, we've just got to move that needle 6.2 and we're good to go. All we're asking at this point in time is to work with us so that we can get the property transferred. We'll get it cleaned up for you, but give these folks the opportunity to transfer the property, because one of the things that they're looking for is buying the barn. And if you make them tear it down before we can transfer it, you're going to kill the sale.
Well, I understand that, but what happens after the sale goes through and we still tell you that barn needs to be demolished to the new owner?
What I'll be more than happy to do is tell the new owner that he's in a situation where he's got to be required to fix it up. That's not a problem. But what he's doing is he's buying the barn. He knows, he's looked at it. He knows what's there. He knows what needs to be done to it. If you take the barn down, one, you're taking down a landmark, because as you have said, everybody knows where that barn is. Everybody's seen that barn, et cetera, et cetera.
Not on the historical register, I don't think.
Well, no, but I don't think anybody wants that barn torn down.
I don't know. I've talked to several people this month about that barn.
Well, I think what we would like to do is to, with your kind permission, is to get it cleaned up and then let us get the legal handled so that the new owner can then fix it up. And if he elects not to fix it up, yeah, he's got an order to tear it down.
Okay, we have issued the order. Now you work with Mr. Beavers and Cheyenne as to what stage they want to take it to.
Okay.
As far as the time is concerned, is what I'm saying, as far as time is concerned.
What we'll do is we will get it cleaned up. So I'm sorry, go ahead.
We do have a 60-day time period that we put on things, but as we all know, there's a lot of properties we've done this that's taken a lot longer than 60 days, is what I'm trying to say.
We wouldn't be here if we hadn't had the legal situation with the two owners in dispute.
I understand that. Well, thank you. So go ahead.
We'll get it cleaned up, and that's going to, they're supposed to start on it next week. So we'll get it cleaned up, and then I will talk with staff and see where we are on it, and then we'll come back to you and we'll talk to you about it. And I'll give you the legal update of where Mr. Kennedy is on getting in front of the judge and getting this thing transferred.
All right. Thank you so much for coming and addressing the board there, Mr. Graham.
Thank you all very much. We appreciate it. Sorry.
Okay, well, now we're going on to trash and debris. We have none. Going on to old business, and we have none. Now we're going on to progress report. And our first one is 1133 Anderson Street. And I do hear that we have Mr. Modern. Is he still in the queue?
Yes, ma'am. Whenever you want to hear from him, they can promote him on the phone, so you can discuss with him the 1133 Anderson Street.
Okay, Mr. Modern is the construction person, the repairman. He's not actually the owner. Is that correct, right?
Yes, he's the contractor.
He's the contractor. Okay. You would go ahead and talk to us about that, Cheyenne, and then we'll put him on.
All right, so we've had this case open since 2017. And after the case was open, I think the actual structure fire happened in 2018. And Codes met with the contractor, Mr. Modern, in October of 2020, so just a few months ago, because there was some discussion on whether or not to change the layout of the upstairs unit. They wanted to make it into two separate units rather than one unit. And at that discussion and that meeting, it was decided that they would just stick to the original layout and just keep it as one unit. And we were informed that it would take a couple of months. Again, that was in October of 2020. Matt and I went out last Thursday on the 18th, and we did another damage assessment. This is one of the downstairs units.
What is that picture of?
This is of the floor, and this is basically what happened was during the fire, all of that water from the fire trucks damaged the ceiling for the bottom unit, one of the bottom units as well. So that's what that is. It's just the ceiling on the floor pretty much.
Okay, I couldn't quite understand that. I thought maybe it was a dirt floor in the basement or something.
No, this is a photo of the stairs. Stairs are very achy and unsafe, so those will need to be replaced as well. But as far as the upstairs unit where the fire damage happened, there doesn't appear to be any work done inside since 2019. There's been no inspections done on the permit. Mr. Modern informed us that they were going to start the roof over the weekend, and they were actually out there on the roof today. And he emailed me today and said that it was almost complete. The new roof was. So
did he say why it's taking them so long to get back onto this project?
I do know that the property owner as well as Mr. Modern had some health issues.
That's been a year or so ago.
Yeah, I want to say that was in maybe 2019 or beginning of 2020. But I don't really know the reason why work has stalled so much, but the only inspection that was performed on the current building permit was on August 15th of 2019 for a 45-day power approval. The permit was expiring due to lack of inspection and was extended on 2/14/20. So the reason it was extended is we allow the contractor or property owner to call in and request an extension. I think we only allow that one time, from my understanding. So that was extended, and the permit is still currently active. We did meet with Mr. Modern last Thursday and performed the new damage assessment, and that damage assessment estimated 57.1%. But since we haven't discussed this property in so long, we are requesting a public hearing on the property at the March 25th meeting to potentially discuss an order to demolish if no work takes place between now and then.
How long is that permit still good for?
I want to say it's set to expire in January of 22. However, I think that we're able to manually enter a different date if that's what the board recommends.
So in other words, you're saying they're good till January 22 in your mind right now?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, yes. I don't have it pulled up in front of me.
6 months from the date it was extended.
Pardon?
6 months.
Yeah, so it is 6 months from the day it was extended. However, there was a hold put on the permit, and when that hold was released, it extended it even longer. So now the current date is, I want to say it's January of 22, and I may be wrong, but I don't have it up in front of me right now.
Okay. All right. Do you want to put Mr. Modern?
Yes, ma'am. He is on the line. Mr. Modern, and I think you need to punch *6 if I recall correctly.
I just did. Did that work?
Yeah, we hear you now.
Did that work?
Yes, we can hear you,
Okay.
Mr. Modern.
Am I talking too loud?
No, you're not. You're fine.
Oh, okay.
All right. You want to explain to us about this property, Mr. Modern, is what's going on and why it's taking so long?
Yeah, we actually were going to do the roof a couple months ago, and I had all the shingles and stuff sent out there, and of course they got stolen. I had a police report and everything. Every bit of the material got stolen for the roof, and so we thought, well, we're going to go ahead and do this again. The rainy season set in, And so today was our window of opportunity. And so I brought the shingles. We bring everything over there now, our own trailer and stuff that we're going to use because of people picking stuff up. And when Matt and Cheyenne was there the other day, we discussed the outside porch. So we have materials for it to come. We're going to rebuild the first floor, second floor, and the roof, which the roof had to be replaced anyway for the stairs because of the fire alligator damage. So we're going to replace the whole thing. And they also made mention of a few more windows that needed to be replaced. And so we have 4 more windows on order to replace to the left side of this house and on the front.
Okay. What kind of time frame are you looking at, Mr. Carter? What kind of time frame are you thinking about? You talking about 6 months?
I'm hoping to have the outside. No, we're having it all dried back in and stuff. It's going to, we shouldn't be too very much longer. The big thing is we're going to, if weather permitting, we're going to start taking down the stairway from outside, and we'll, that's our next goal, is to get that thing done. All of our material is in to complete the exterior, with the exception of these 4 windows that I ordered the day after we all met over there on that Thursday.
Okay.
And we also did upstairs, that's the one that caught on fire. On the porch there was a window, and what we ended up doing was we took that window out and put another door in, because that is one apartment. That upstairs is very large. And so Chris, the owner, he was like, well, let's just go ahead and, instead of putting this window in here, let's go ahead and put a door. That way, if this was to ever happen again, that you'd have a better access to get out.
Okay. So
and that's already completed.
You still haven't answered my question as to what time frame are you looking at?
I'd say we could, where we're at now, we should be able to be done in about 2 months.
On the entire
and one of the reasons,
interior?
I'm sorry.
On the exterior and interior?
The exterior we can be done in about 2 weeks, week and a half to 2 weeks. Inside, we've been waiting on the electrician to come in. I've actually got, it's hard to find. I've got a couple of electricians, but none of them are set up to be able to work in Bristol. So I've had to stay with my one that does work in Bristol. But we don't have, I guess to say realistically about 3 months, because we do have, he's decided to remodel those downstairs units. He's not going to take out any of the plumbing or nothing, but he's wanting to just kind of update them since he's this far in it already.
Okay, so you've given us a time frame. Well, the city is requesting us to take this property back to public hearings for the March meeting, and that way we can discuss whether we're going to change our issue in order to demolish or keep our order to repair in place. But that also hinges on see how much work you get done in the meantime.
Okay. When is that meeting?
March 25th.
Okay.
That'll give you some time to get some work done, because we want work taking place on that piece of property.
Yes,
not just sitting there saying, I want to do it. We want work done. All right, gentlemen.
Absolutely. I understand.
Okay, thank you for coming, Mr. Modern. We're going to mute you now, but you can listen to our discussion. All right, gentlemen. We do need a motion in order to, if we decide to take it back to a public hearing.
This is Randy. I move that we have a public hearing on the property at 1133 Anderson Street, March 25th, 2021 meeting.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor that we move the property located from 1133 Anderson Street to public hearings at the March 25th, 2021 meeting. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Wayne?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Randy?
Aye.
Lonnie?
Aye.
Let the record show that the motion is carried. So this piece of property will come back to us at the March 25th meeting as a public hearing and for us to discuss what steps we're going to take next on it. Mr. Martin, thank you so much for coming. Okay, now we're going on to our next property, which is 901 Georgia Avenue.
Yes, Madam Chairwoman, we have Mr. St. Clair is present, and
Do we have him on the phone? Good.
he will be promoted into the Zoom. Actually, I think he's on the actual Zoom call, so they will promote him. So, and he is in now, once again. Cheyenne, you can go ahead.
So at the previous meeting in January, we also met with Mr. St. Clair on here, and he provided us with some information, and the board allowed some additional time for him to submit his request to rescind the order to demolish, and he did that. He did submit it on February 8th, I do believe. So it was received 15 days prior to the meeting. So he did meet the deadline there. And I did provide that in your all's packets.
Yes, we've got a copy of it here. Okay, do we have, so we don't have his niece and nephew here. We have him in person. Is that correct? So it's just Mr. St. Clair instead of the Millers.
Correct, Madam Chairwoman.
Okay. All right, Mr. St. Clair, you want to talk to us about this property so we can decide what we're going to do on this?
Try to unmute.
Yes, sorry, I had mute. I think I had to do *6. My apologies.
Okay.
So yes, ma'am. So a niece and a nephew and her husband, all there in the Abington and Bristol area, my sister's children. So I have them as my local contacts. I could have them attend any previous property meetings. And my nephew, Aaron Miller, has reached out and met with Matt Bailey. He's going to be my local moving forward with the contractors and the work to be done for the previous timeline that I had submitted.
Okay. Okay, I'm reading the notes right here on this. I was confused about the date. Okay, what kind of time frame are you looking at now that you've got this property if for some reason we issue an order to repair versus demolish? What kind of time frame?
Sorry, ma'am, I have a little background. Okay, hopefully that's better. I just took it off the speaker. So I had previously requested to do 6 months to have the property in condition to be approved by code enforcement and to be able to rent the property out. I had originally put September, thinking that I could start in January, but of course I didn't have the formal written order to rescind the order to demolish and replace with my order to repair.
Okay. Have you got contractors lined up as what you're getting ready to do on this particular piece of property?
Yes, ma'am.
Over and above the
yes,
ones
ma'am.
that you supposedly had and paid him money and he hadn't done it?
Well, I had paid $20,000 in June of this year. And of course, the onset of COVID came and there was a little bit of delay in his work. They did all the HVAC. I had submitted to Mr. Bailey previously. All the new air conditioning unit, fan unit, HVAC, furnace, everything has already been installed, and that was in the summer of 2020. Of course, the work for the initial $20,000 was not up to the amount of work. They wanted an additional $20,000, which is part of why I did not move forward with the original general contractor. And of course, at that time as well, as I previously written in my initial statement, I was laid off in June. So after almost 20 years in the education industry. So just now working again, back on my feet and ready to move forward with the repairs.
Okay. All right, gentlemen, let's do some talking here. You want to go ahead and mute Mr. St. Clair and let's let the board talk for a minute. He, of course, can hear what we're discussing.
This is John, and we've been dealing with this property now for over 3 years, almost 4.
That's because we've gone through so many different owners between the mother, the daughter, and now this. I mean,
yeah, well, I understand that. I mean, that's part of the equation, but
yes.
I'm iffy on what's really going to happen. I mean, I'm. You'd have to really convince me that something's going to happen, because I can't see anything that's really happened other than the AC units.
Damage assessment still is at 79.9, but that was the damage assessment that has been done back in, that's a previous damage assessment, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
It's not one that's just been done the last month.
No, I think this one was done maybe in November.
Okay.
The AC units were already in November, correct?
Yes, I think they were done over the summer.
Right. Still had 79% in November.
Is that correct, Cheyenne?
Yes, I do believe so.
They were still at 79% even with the new AC units in, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
This is Randy. Did Mr. St. Clair say that he had contractor lined up?
He said he had different contractors lined up other than the one he had gotten before that just $20,000 and didn't do what he thought was going to get done. Yes, he said he got a different contractor.
Okay. I wonder if it's appropriate to ask who that is. I don't know the answer to that question.
I don't think it'd be too appropriate, would you think, Randy? It's just a different contractor. What about it, Danielle?
I don't see any why you couldn't ask who his contractor is. Part of this decision is whether he's got the means to go ahead and do the repairs.
Well, he has stated that he is now back to work, and he obviously has the means to repair. Now he's gone back to work. Do you want to go ahead and unmute him again?
Let me ask a question first.
Okay.
What is the power on, temporary power, or is it still off?
As far as I know, the power is off at this point because it was only approved for a 45-day power, and that was in August of 2019.
Okay, was there any inspection on the HVAC?
Oh, I apologize. I was reverting back to Anderson Street. There is no power on this property, no.
Okay, so we don't know if he might say the HVAC is working, but it doesn't. We don't know that since it's not. No power.
Well, the rest of the wiring in the house is not meeting.
Right. I saw that. Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
Okay, do you want to go ahead and unmute him again now, so Mr. St. Clair, so we can find out who the contractor was and is going to be? And about the financial means to do this work?
Yes, they can unmute him. And you might have to push *6 again, Mr. St. Clair.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Am I on?
Okay, you're on now. So would you like
Yes,
to
ma'am.
tell us what contractor have you gotten hold of to do this work?
We originally were going to go with Volunteer Electrical. I do have a couple of other quotes. I did not have that right in front of me, but I can email it first thing in the morning to Mr. Bailey and Ms. Powers.
You've gone to an electrical company to do the repairs on the house?
Yes, ma'am. So all the HVAC was installed, all the duct work, the new AC, et cetera. But the next step was the electrical. It needs a new panel. Also needs new improved breakers to run that HVAC and the AC unit. So that's where I left off over the summer with the electrical. They were supposed to start the electrical, and again, I put an original $20,000 into the home just this summer, as well as maintaining the yard and all the cleanup and debris out of it, another $5,000 earlier in 2020. So the property was just signed over to me, and I got from the board of there in Tennessee, Sullivan County, in November, that the house has finally been moved over to me. My sister was incarcerated, so that was part of the delay of me putting additional funds into it as well, until I made sure the property was actually in my name before I made that investment.
But you don't have a contractor for the structural stuff that has to be done, right?
No, not at this time. The general contractor was Gary Smith. That we parted ways with him due to just not performing the work, and was asking for more and more money beyond the original quote.
And you haven't contracted with an electrical contractor at this time. You just have quotes, right?
Just quotes, sir. Yes, I wanted to wait because at the last meeting there was still the order to demolish, and that's why I did my my letter to request the order to demolish to be rescinded and the order to repair before I actually made an actual contract with the electrical company.
Right, I understand.
Okay.
Madam Chairman, this is Wayne Humphrey.
Yes, Wayne.
What structural? I'm trying to disseminate from the pictures here. What actual structural problems are we faced with here? I see needing sheetrock, probably wiring, probably plumbing, but what structural? It looks like there's a new roof on the house.
Yes, sir.
And I assume that would have been put over, adequate sheathing and rafters. So I'm just curious as to what structural work has to be done before they can start hanging sheetrock.
Well, as I remember, Wayne, the structural that was done way prior to this was never inspected.
I see.
And that's going back to around 2017 or 2018. And
Yeah.
I know that the front porch, the 1-4 before supporting the porch, probably does structural requirements.
Okay, so the foundations and everything is okay in this house, you feel? Doesn't say.
Ma'am, am I still on?
Yeah, you're still on.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Well, I had two contractors that have inspected the property, and both said the foundation was in good order, but of course, would also expect that the city needed to inspect it as well. Definitely open to that. Yeah, I was not going to move forward with any work if there was extreme structural damage. That's why I did have two general contractors and review that, and I both assured me that the structure was sound.
Who were those general contractors?
Gary Smith was the first general contractor, and actually, ironically, Matt Bailey was the other general contractor. Same name as Matt Bailey there with the code division.
Okay. And do you feel like you could financially afford to do these repairs and finish up this into a point where you can actually take it and rent it out or whatever you're going to do with the structure?
Yes, ma'am. I also have financial assistance that's going to be provided with my in-laws, basically my niece's father. So he is, with it being a family property since 1974, he's going to help me as well.
All right, thank you for answering our questions, Mr. St. Clair. We're going to put you back on mute again.
Yes, ma'am, and thank you for your time.
Okay, Johnny, we've heard from John. Now let's hear from Wayne and Lonnie and Randy.
I just have one question. Probably, I'd like to get another damage assessment if we. I know we can't get it today, but
we can have it by next month.
Well, then yeah, okay.
And Madam Chairman, I echo that request.
Okay. So what you're trying to say is that we actually postpone this progress report and making the decision on whether to issue an order to repair and rescind the demolish until next month till we get a new damage assessment?
Well, we've taken other people's word for it over the years, and sometimes we've been let down. Sometimes we've had good response.
Mm-hmm.
He seems like he's doing all this from a distance, and he hopefully will get some good reports.
So is that a yes to my request, or?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
And Madam Chairman, if that's in the form of a motion, I will second that.
Oh, I didn't make a motion, honey. No, I haven't made a motion.
No, I meant for.
But I will entertain it if somebody wants to so move. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. I will gladly move that we postpone any action at this location until the March meeting to see if there has been any improvement, status change, whatever, at that location on, let me get back to it here.
901 Georgia Avenue.
Thank you, Madam Chairman.
You're welcome.
At 901 Georgia Avenue.
I'll second it.
Okay, we got a motion and a second on the floor that we actually have a progress report on the property located at 901 Georgia Avenue at the March 25th meeting, so that the city will be able to do a second assessment. That way we will be assured of what structural damage or issues or non-issues that we need to do before we make the decision to rescind this order to demolish and issue an order to repair. Is there any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Wayne?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Randy?
Aye.
Lonnie?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. The motion is carried. So we will have this brought back to us at the March 25th meeting, where we will entertain a new assessment, damage assessment from the city. Now, Mr. St. Clair heard that, so he knows that we've not made the decision today to rescind anything. We do want to make sure everything is over and aboard before he goes in and puts good money after bad, or vice versa. So thank you for coming, Mr. St. Clair. I know you can hear us. Okay, we're going on to 1141 Indian Hills Drive. Cheyenne, you want to talk to us about that? Do we have anyone here from that property?
Yes, Madam Chairwoman. We
the
owner, Kathy Compton.
We got Kathy there.
Darlene Graham.
We got them.
Yes, ma'am. They have been promoted into the meeting.
Okay, thank you.
So at the previous meeting in January, the board did rescind the order to demolish and issue an order to repair with a 60-day completion date and the 30-day progress report, which is what we're doing today. A permit was issued to the property owner And the 45-day power approval, or the property was tagged for 45-day power approval. Matt and I went out this morning, and these photos in the PowerPoint are from this morning. So the ceiling in this utility room still hasn't been replaced. They have removed the toilet as well as the hot water heater, and moved some stuff around. This room has been somewhat organized from the last time we were out there. It had been just crammed full of stuff, and now you can actually see a walkway there. There's also some piles of insulation that are in the kitchen as well as the living room. This is another picture of the kitchen. As you can see, it looks about the same as it did last time. There's the insulation in the living room. They have also started painting in the living room as well as I think one of the back bedrooms. And I apologize, this picture is blurry, but the trailer's still in the back that they've been removing junk and debris with. And the back patio is mainly just stacked with boxes. It appears that they have put some of the belongings that were out there previously into boxes. And that toilet from the utility room is sitting on the back patio. See, the permit was issued on February 3rd. And it appears that no work has actually been done. No inspections have been requested or performed as of today either.
Okay, they are aware they have a 60-day completion date as of March 25th.
They are aware, yes.
Okay, do you want to go ahead and put them on speaker now?
Yes, they can unmute. You should be able, Ms. Compton, to speak to the board.
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. We are in the process. The insulation that is in the dining room and the living room, Chris, the contractor, he has pulled that out and he's cutting it and placing it in the laundry room ceiling. The sheetrock has been purchased with the nails to repair the ceiling in the laundry room. The heat pump, the hot water heater is being replaced by BTES. They have already come out and done the inspection. We're just waiting to, they have to check the water pressure. So we have to get everything ready for water to go through to check the water pressure. However, we didn't want water to go through the pipes with it being so cold still. So that's kind of a standstill at the moment. But the rest of the things, the painting will be done within the next couple of days throughout the whole entire house. The knotty pine is in the process of being cleaned. It's been sprayed down once and let soak to get rid of all the loose debris and stuff. I'll get up and hand scrub it all from top to bottom. So it should clean up really nice. The floors are waiting for the heat to acclimate so that the wood lays back down, and then we'll resand the floors and get that going. So it will be done in 30 days. We are just in the process.
Okay, you are aware that the March 25th is the kind of completion date that we're expecting from you all?
Yes.
Okay.
And the trailer out back has since been moved. A lot was taken in and taken out. I guess apparently after this morning, Chris, he's in another meeting, but he said that he has taken in the sheetrock and is in preparation of getting everything prepared to reinstall the ceiling in the laundry room and finish the insulation. Some of the insulation has already been placed back there, but the rest will get done, and then the sheetrock hung.
Is that dryer going to go with the broken door?
Yes. And he just pulled that out. I'm not really sure. Yeah, it's going to go.
Okay. Gentlemen, do y'all have any questions you want to ask her? Okay, hearing none from them, we thank you for coming and we will see you next month with a progress report.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Now we're going on to 404 Pennsylvania Avenue. How's the basement coming? Or blocks or foundation or whatever they're trying to remove?
They've continued to work on it. They do have the equipment out there, and due to the weather, the recent weather, that's kind of delayed them a little bit longer. But they do have the equipment, and they do plan to finish the project as quickly as possible as the weather gets a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
So we're requesting a little bit of additional time for the property owner.
They could have gotten it done today.
Yeah.
As pretty as it was, they could have gotten it done today.
I think the property owner, he is kind of elderly, and it's just him and his son doing the work themselves. So I think that might have a little bit of a role to play in it as well.
Okay. Okay, can you bring us back as a progress report next month?
I can, yes.
Okay, bring that back so we can, hopefully it will be ready to close the file by that time. All right, in that case, we're going on to 1208 Windsor Avenue.
So this property, we did have to hire a contractor through the city to demolish it.
Okay, if you'll excuse me for just 1 second, please.
Okay.
Yeah, it's time for a potty break.
Ready to go.
The casserole is hot. All I've got to do is open a can of beans. The plates are warming.
You might as well go ahead and open the beans because this is going to be over as soon as Pam gets back.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay, so the city did hire a contractor to go in and do the demolition on this property, and we did have some unexpected delays with some asbestos testing that had to be done. And the structure was set to be demoed this week. It has not taken place as of today. So we are hoping to get that demoed as quickly as possible and bring it back to you at the March 25th meeting for an update.
Okay. All right. So in other words, there's nothing they left to do other than going ahead and demo it now. The asbestos and everything's been taken care of.
Right.
Okay, so you'll bring it back to us in the March meeting also. Okay, nothing else on the agenda. Anything you need to bring before the board before we adjourn?
Madam Chairwoman.
Yes, yes, Tim.
If you would like, tonight, or we can do it next month, discuss.
Not tonight, honey. It's already 6:45.
Okey doke.
Sorry.
What do you want? What do you want, Tim?
What do you want? You want to discuss rules and procedures?
Yes, please look them over and see if you have any changes that you all would like to talk about next month. One specific staff is looking at and would like you all to consider is when you issue an order to demolish, that if they want to rescind a rescission, that it has to occur within that 60-day period, 15 days prior to that board meeting, during that 60-day period, and not after the 60-day period. And I think that would help a lot with some of this confusion on the rescission of orders.
You're talking about if they want to rescind an order to demolish, we've got a meeting the 25th of March. They need to do it 15 days prior to that.
Within the 60 days, so you'll have two meetings within that 60-day period.
Okay, but it's got to be
prior
done.
to the last meeting, they would need 15 days prior to the last meeting before that 60-day expiration. They would.
In other words, if we've issued an order to demolish, we can't get that. We're not to get that letter asking us to rescind the order to demolish, 6 months down the road or something like that. Is that what you're saying?
I think we've seen, and you all have seen in the past couple of meetings, the request to rescind after that 60-day time period. And this would hopefully keep that from occurring and make progress report or happen if they're really
Okay.
going to make it happen.
All right, let's all study this real good so that we can discuss it next month. How's that? That be all right with you?
Sounds awesome.
How about Wayne? Randy, does that sound okay?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, that way we have a chance to really study this and also look to see what he sent us from the city today. Okay, anything else you need to bring before the board?
While we were earlier, we talked about having meeting electronically. It sounded like we could.
It's almost like we can meet, we can meet in person next month.
That's what I was going to say.
Let's sure hope so.
Yeah.
Danielle, can you address that, please?
Sure. I mean, the board can meet in person if they wish to. The governor is just extending the ability to meet electronically. But if you don't feel meeting electronically is necessary, then you guys do have the ability to meet in person. We probably just need to coordinate that a little bit. It may not be in the annex conference room. We might want to do that in a larger room. That would be the only real change. So Mr. Beavers would have to kind of do some homework on the backside, but that's a decision that the board can make.
So
I
our
think-
question
I think
tonight would be, do you all want to meet in person this March 25th?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, we will make the accommodations and let everybody know where they'll be.
Good. I think that's a very good idea. I mean, it's nice seeing y'all's faces on my computer, but I would like to see and talk to you in person and discuss all we need to discuss in person.
Yes.
All right. Anything else we need to bring before the board? Then I declare this meeting adjourned by common consent.